Hello everyone watching and welcome to my first speed paint. I will be painting a snake, as you saw in the title, or the thumbnail, wherever I put it. It's a little snaky boy. And I will be painting him and talking about my process. Mind you, I'm very new to digital drawing. This is a new tool, so bear with me. I'm just going to explain what I'm doing and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong about what I'm doing later on, but not yet. So as you can see right now, we're doing the sketching phase, and this was a little bit difficult for me because this is one of the first things that I drew on my new tool. I'm using an iPad. I'm not sure what kind. It was a Christmas gift from my parents, whom I love, and thank you so much. This is fantastic. But it took a little work for me to get the shaping right and everything. I really wanted it to have a good outline and to work more cohesively as a whole piece. So as you can see, I'm kind of just working with that sketch layer, trying to get it done all together, doing it nice and even. Oh yeah, we're getting the eyeball in. This shape, eyes can be so difficult for me for absolutely no reason. Like, the shape and the direction and everything. On people, it's a little easier because I had a whole session. I was in oils 1 and 2 and then advanced oils for a few years in like middle school or something, so it wasn't really that impressive. But I remember the speech my teacher gave me on eyeballs, and that was, your eye is a flap, or no, your eye is an orb that's wrapped in a flap that's wrapped in skin that is put in your skull. And I will never forget that because I think it might be the weirdest advice I've ever been given. So, yeah. But when you're doing it stylized, it's a little more difficult to like think of the fundamental way that eyeballs work. But I digress. I'm adding little belly stripes. I don't care if not all snakes have them. We don't know what kind of snake this is, so he has them. And he also has sick eyeliner. Y'all can cry about it. This is a snowflake. Little liberal snowflake. Please think that's funny and not that I'm serious. So here I have made it so I'm using a more transparent coloring system because I like to be able to add more on and have it kind of grow as if it would if it were like real paint. So I keep it at a nice like low transparency just so I can build more form off of that. I don't want to go straight in with flat colors as I have with my little avatar thing because I want it to look better than my little guy does. So as you can see, I'm not worrying too much about going outside of the lines. I can fix that later. My bar was spazzing out for a second. That was kind of funny. But I wanted it to be more red and green based just because I like those colors together. I didn't realize until now, but he's kind of like a Christmas snake right now. But, well, that changes later because we're still just on base colors over sketch. One other thing that I'd like to add is that I had no reference picture or anything, so don't at me on the snake's anatomy because I genuinely, I don't know how snakes really work too well. But that's okay. We don't know how snakes work. That didn't make sense. Guys, can you tell I don't have a script and I'm just talking? Because I can't, because that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. Hi, hello, you're 4 minutes in, 3:45 seconds in. You deserve to know. I'm raw dogging this. So, yeah, we're just going in. We're trimming up. I'm using layers. I'm smart. I know how layers work, I think. I hope I do. That's how I use them still. I just kind of add on. I drew this a while ago, just FYI. I'm just adding the voiceover now. And if this works out, I'm going to be doing more like this in the future. So here I take off the sketch layer just to kind of get the idea of what I'm working with color-wise, because I want to eventually get rid of the sketch completely and then do line work separately from that. So I just want to make sure I'm not missing too many spots before I add shading, as I am right now. I just want to make sure everything flows nicely and the shading looks natural and not chunky. So I really take a lot of time to add it small in increments, and I know you can just outline the section you want and use the bucket tool. I just don't like doing that because I like feeling like I'm doing more work. I have nothing against people who do the bucket tool thing because it is a useful tool. I'm just not adjusted to using it yet, you know? So that's how I do it. It's honestly a lot more work than I want it to be. And this part, oh my god, this part takes me for frickin' ever to work on. This little belly, like, scale section, I had to, like, completely white it out and do it bare with nothing else on it to try and get it right. But this section took forever. It was low-key really annoying, but I think it paid off in the end. As you can see, it's very repetitive. I'm just kind of adding, sorry, I just like peeked the mic a little bit. We're gonna ignore that. But I'm just making these little bridge-shaped things on every belly scale, and I know it doesn't look like much, but boy howdy, this took me 2 hours. And I'm not exaggerating either. I timed it, and it took me a minute. And I cut out a good portion of it before I even sped it up. So just know it was originally green, and then I did this whole process in green, and then I decided I didn't like it and I went in with red. I could have left in the green, but again, this video would be like 30 minutes long if I had every wrong decision I made throughout it. So just know I made a few, and that was potentially one of them, and I didn't have to tell you, but I did. So it looks alright, but I wanted to make it look more smooth. I think I cut out a little bit. Sorry. Also, I just listened to my recording a little bit, and my mic has been peaking, and every time I go or b, it makes a big gust of wind into the mic, so I'm holding it further away. I'm using my earbuds. I'm really sorry. But back to business. What I was saying was that I'm adding more detail to make it look smoother, and I am pretty sure, almost 100% sure, that I go in again after this and decide to smooth it up, because as you can see, I did kind of crunchy on that line work, and yeah, you can see now I'm kind of deciding, like, I don't like how that turned out, and I turned them just into, like, little slivers of light in the front, which in hindsight would have been easier for me to just make them all the dark red color and then add the highlight, but I gave up on that, and now I'm making the eye. I knew I wanted the eye yellow just because it was contrasting, not contrasting, I guess you could say either way, but I wanted the yellow to contrast from the red and the green. I just feel like it's off. I don't know enough about color theory to know if that's right, but I know that I like the way that this looks. So that's my reasoning, that's my rationing. I really like using a lot of different shades of various colors to make something really feel more alive and pop out, and that's what I decided to do on the belly after I kind of took a break from it, went to the eye, and I was like, hey, I like the way that looks, I'll add it back here. I also tried to make it look more curved, like it's more, whoa, I don't know what happened there, but I tried to make it look more like, I don't know, pillowy, fleshy. It looks like one of those old couches, like the leather couches. I don't know why I said old. They still make leather couches, but it looks like a leather couch cushion if it was red. I'm sure they make those, but I've not seen one. I will Google one after this recording. That doesn't matter. You're not here to listen to my opinion on various leather couches. Yeah. So I'm still adding the shading. Obviously, you're watching it, and I briefly decided to make the bottom two all black and then decided against it, and then I changed it up a little more, and here we are changing more. Shading can be a little tedious for me because at the time of doing this, I had never done like heavy shading on it before, and I'm actually really happy with how the tongue turned out. I think it looks awesome. If I were to do it again, though, I would add a little bit of drool. Just kind of add to that cinematography aspect of it. Make it look more alive and living. But I digress. I didn't do it at the time, and I'm too lazy to go back and edit it now, but I did add some nice highlights. So at least we got that going for me. I didn't know that, like, rendering was a thing. Like, you would stop it and then start it again. Like, you would do base colors and then, like, finish it later. I have always just like gone at something until it's done. So the idea of like doing this, also all of the shading is on one layer. I don't do that anymore, but I just wanted to mention the fact that like I didn't know how to properly use layers. And I know he said at the beginning like let me know if I used it wrong or not, and I'm telling you right now I did use it wrong. So I know, and I apologize. I know that you are now supposed to do different shading on different layers, and I feel silly, but you know what? It happened. It's in the past. I did run into some problems trying to erase stuff and accidentally erasing all of it, so I don't do that anymore. But I'm kind of doing micro shading at the moment. If I would just do it in a way that makes sense, that'd be great. I didn't realize. Oh, I would not do this method now. I'm not going to advise doing this unless it like works. Okay, that looks okay. Hey, I still posted it and I look at this and I'm like, hey, that looks nice, but I wouldn't do this process this way now. You know? I might. I don't know. That last thing where I was just adding a bunch of shading and trying to make it look flat, I could have just like picked up the color that it was and gone full pigment instead of trying to like where I was trying to just like overlay it. I don't know. It was very complicated and I kind of lost what I was saying. But right now I'm just adding like detailing on shading, fixing areas that I think could use some work. I'm adding much more green because I did want it to be a more dominant color. You can see there I finally used the bucket tool with the full pigment. I'm going in with much more pigment but still kind of erring on the side of caution and trying to blend it together more, and I just went like no pigment at all. So just screw me in the past. You're making me look like a hypocrite for what I'm saying, but I did really want more green in this. I wanted it to be very heavily green and it ended up being a lot of red. So at this point I was like, yeah, we'll add more green then. Do you guys get what I'm saying? I wanted to add more green, so I did. Do you get the point? That's what I did. And there you see the first problem I had with layering. And I just added the thing onto the wrong layer instead of erasing it and putting it on the right layer. So, pretty sure I am stupid. I think that's what that means. But I do like how I did this. I decided it was too bright, but I still like the colors. So I just diluted it by putting a lighter of the color I wanted on top of it. And then the gums, I didn't know what other color to do but pink, but I like it. And then, of course, gray teeth, because gray is the way for teeth. And then I add lighter stuff and darker stuff to make it look more like teeth. Yeah. And yes, I do prefer yellow for people, but I think animals look way better with, like, pearly whites, because it's like, why are they so clean? You're a vicious animal. It's like, I brush them every day. I don't know why I did the little spin thing with the canvas, but I guess that was entertaining. Are you entertained? Are you not entertained? Anyway, I feel like that smack I just did might have peaked the camera. I don't peak the camera, bitch. What the hell am I talking about? Anyway, eventually I'll start line art, I guess, but we're still doing this shit. We're just adding little details, fucking around with more little details, adding more green. I don't know what I'm about to do, honestly. There we go. Alright, we're getting more on the ball. I see you. I see you. And at this point, we begin the process of line art, but we're still not super confident. Oh, never mind, we start the background. I was incorrect, and I'm frankly quite disappointed in what that looks like right off the bat. I am proud of myself. This is the first time I actually used my brain for doing a background in the color sense. I didn't know if you noticed, but I would pick the main colors of the snake, which was the green and the red. I used the dark red and the medium shade of green, and I picked the opposite color on the color wheel of the same shade as to contrast and make it look good. I do know that about color wheel, and we're finally onto line art. I know you guys have either clicked off or tuned me out at this point, but thank you if you are still here. We're on line art, and I like to do what I call crunchy line art. So I like to make a bunch of lines and line it, the snake with it. Line it, the snake with it. I don't know. I just have basic line art style. I want it to look good, and I want it to like, I like thick lines, which can bite me sometimes because I like to have, a lot of times I find myself having like nice looking backgrounds. And as you can see, I forgot to add nostrils in the coloring. So I added them just with line art, and I think it looks fine. Sometimes you just gotta improvise, you know? I really liked doing the line art for the eye the most, and I think you'll see that in a moment, unless I already did it and I'm just an idiot and didn't see it. That could also happen, but I'm pretty sure I didn't yet. Again, with the belly, I was kind of putting this off, but I knew I had to do it further to the middle of the end. You know what I mean? Like, didn't want to do it first because it's tedious and boring, but I also didn't want to do it last so I wouldn't end on a bad note. So I put it square in the middle, average. And I do know that I get kind of like, I think this is too big, I'll fix this, I don't know. But yeah. Oh, lines. I love adding lines. I'm so excited to see that part again because I just had so much fun going in and just adding detail markings and everything. I think I would add like a more variant line depth. That, I don't know if that's the technical term. I think I should have done thinner lines on like the gums and the inside and like on the eyes and stuff, and then thicker lines on the outside just to make it look, I don't know, more real, because not everything would have the same outline, you know? Thickness it's dummy thick lines that I'm using, which I'm appreciating the boldness, but not so much the boldness. Like, I could have toned it down a little bit. Yeah, this snake, I love this snake. I love drawing snakes. I draw snakes whenever I have art block, just because they're little tubes with faces, so it's real easy to draw. And they have fun teeth, which is always a plus. And here we go with the eye. I wanted it to look like an eye, so obviously I'm doing the outline first, just kind of making that round shape in the middle. And then I'm going to go in and get those little markings that slit in the end. I shouldn't have said slit, but I did. Getting that line. Oh, and then I wanted to make the mouth go a little bit longer just to look a little more sinister, snaky. And I finally go in and add those beautiful, beautiful lines that I love so much. These ones, I love lines, but I hate the ones that I decided to do here. And as you see in a minute, I just decided to undo all of them instead of put them on a different layer so I could erase them. I don't know why I did that, but I ended up going with a thicker line. And I really like the way these ones look because they feel so right. It's almost pop art, but not. I don't know what I'm saying because I realize I don't really know what pop art means because all I think of is like those pictures of girls with like a bunch of dots on their faces, which is, I like the style. I used to love it a lot, but it's pop lines, not pop art. No, it's line art. Well, that's also a thing. I don't know. Someone comment a better name for this method or tell me what it is actually called because I don't know. Oh, I just love adding lines. I end up doing, I end up erasing that one. That's what I was about to say, but you saw it before I could say it. So, just know, I had a really, really fun time adding these. I had such a fun time painting this whole thing, and I'm glad that you all get to see. I wanted to add a variant of different kind of lines just so it doesn't look like I stamped it on, you know? So I have a few that are thicker, and by thicker I mean longer, thinner ones. And by thinner, I mean shorter. I don't know what's going on with me. And there goes the bigger one right there. Oh, I love the way the snakes looks so much. Oh, I'm just going to eat it up. Apparently that wasn't the line. Y'all ignore everything I'm saying because I keep being wrong. I'm so sorry. I'm so bad at this. But yeah, I really like the way it looks. And I had an excellent time painting with y'all. I'm just going to finish up these little details. And yeah. Thank you all if you stuck around this long. I really appreciate all of you. I love you so, so much for watching this. That's the one highlight I ended up doing, and I'm really happy with it. Thank you so much. See you on the flippity flip.